Hey guys, this is Sade with Third Generation Conjure. If you don't know who we are a spiritual company. We specialize in spiritual supplies and services catered to the practice of hoodoo and conjure work. I am Sade. I run this company with my mother, and today we are going to discuss the upcoming ritual, which is Ancestor Roots, which is our Ancestor Veneration ritual, which is happening on October the 18th of 2021. In this video, I just want to discuss some frequently asked questions that I have gotten about Ancestor Veneration. What is Ancestor Veneration? What is this ritual about? And the importance of Ancestor Veneration in this practice. So before we go any further, guys, make sure that you like and subscribe to our channel. Also follow us on Instagram, which is Third Generation Conjure. I don't have Facebook up here, but you can like us on Facebook, which is Third Generation Conjure. Pinterest is Third Generation Conjure. Our TikTok is Third Generation Conjure 1. I may get into uploading some videos, but that's kind of like a backup because we did have some glitches with Facebook and Instagram in the past week. Also, if you want to sign up for the ritual, the last day to sign up and to send over the collages, which I will go over later in the video, is on October the 11th, which is Monday, because this ritual is going to require a lot of prep, so we can't have any kind of last minutes coming in. And if you want to sign up for that ritual, the website to sign up is www.thirdgenerationconjurel.com. And also, if you need any kind of spiritual supplies, you can find us on our website. Or if you are familiar with the Etsy platform and you like to shop there better, the web address there is www.thirdgenerationconjurel.store. We do sell our supplies there, but we do not offer any spiritual services on our Etsy shop. So what is Ancestor Veneration? Ancestor Veneration is the practice of honoring and venerating your ancestors, as the belief is that the ancestors guide and assist us in this physical realm and have the ability to intervene in our lives on our behalf. So it is important to know that Ancestor Veneration is the backbone of hoodoo and conjure work, and you don't have hoodoo without the ancestors. So what is this Ancestral Roots ritual? This ritual is a ritual used to honor and venerate our ancestors and establish the connection and strengthen that connection by giving offerings and showing appreciation. So it's used to establish that connection if you haven't done any previous ancestor veneration, and also if you have been doing ancestor veneration, it is used to just show appreciation to our ancestors and strengthen that connection further. This practice works with the spirits of ancestors and the spirits of the herbs, so that is why the ancestors are very important to this practice. And I do typically see that people who have the most optimal results are those who have already established a relationship with their ancestors. So how do we venerate our ancestors? We venerate them by setting up an altar, by giving offerings, and by also just giving our time, talking to our ancestors and spending time at our altar, or even just spending time communicating with them and, acknowledging them and thanking them. So how do you set up an ancestor altar? I do have a video on our YouTube that I posted over a year ago on how to set up an ancestor altar, and I will link that to this video as well. But a typical ancestor altar, you want to start off with a sturdy surface, so a table. Also get you a tablecloth. White is good, but if you can't find white, or if you want to put some color, do a lively color. This is all about bringing life to your ancestors, so I wouldn't use anything dark like black or anything like that. Make sure that you keep some water on your altar. Water is a connection to spirit, and you also want to make sure that you keep it fresh. Make sure you don't have any water that goes murky on your altar. So get into a habit of changing it out on a consistent basis. Also, like I said, this is all about bringing life to our ancestors. So typically we keep a live flower on our altar. Just make sure, once again, if those flowers go to withering and dying, to make sure that those are removed from the altar. Also, you can kind of check how your altar is active, about how long your plants stay alive on the altar as well. But also take into account if you're somewhere with a lot of heat and things like that, conditions can affect that too. We also give offerings on the altar, which offerings of food. So, if you're cooking dinner, you can set aside a plate for your ancestor altar. We also give offerings of tobacco, libations, which is alcohol, and so forth on the altar, and whatever else that you want to put on your altar. So if you had, you know, your grandma like RC Cola, you know, you can put that on the altar. All right. We also, if you have any photos that are available of your ancestors, you can put that on the altar as well. Or even if you don't have photos, you don't know your ancestors, and I'll get into that in the frequently asked questions. We'll discuss some options for that as well. Also, keep a candle on your altar, whether that is tea lights or a chime candle, or I typically like 7 days because they last longer. You can keep that on your altar as well, and that's a candle that's easy to anoint if you're using any kind of conditioned oils as well. Okay, so how do we prepare for this upcoming ritual? So if you have bought the ritual prep bundle, I want you to start taking your white bath 3 days prior to the ritual. So whether that's taking it on October the 15th, 16th, and 17th, or the 16th, 17th, 18th, you know, I know a lot of people have different things going on. They may be working. You know, just start that bath up. If you don't have a white bath, I tell people, you know, you can use another cleansing bath. You can use coffee. I like the white bath because the white bath is for purification. You see that bath used for spiritual cleansing and purifying the energy, and you will see it used by a lot of people who do work. It's a traditional bath that is used, and it is used, you'll typically see people use like coconut milk, and we do have all of those ingredients in a powdered form in the bath. So you don't have to add any milk or anything to it. You just will seep that bath like you would do your regular baths with the muslin bag that we provide as a courtesy. And that's just so you don't get herbs and things in your drain. All right. The bath also has anise seed, which is good for enhancing your clairvoyance and your intuition. So that's also something good to incorporate for this type of ritual. All right. I don't want any petitions this time. I did ask if you had pictures of your ancestors to send it in a collage form, so it's a little bit easier for me, because we do want to incorporate those photos into the ritual and on the altar. So if you have any photos, just send them over to thirdgenerationpetitions@gmail.com. Also, if you receive the ritual prep bundle, we also included the ancestors oil as well. So with the ancestors oil, you can anoint with it after your bath, but it's typically used as an offering on your altar, and it's also used to strengthen that connection with your ancestors. So I would use that on to anoint your candles, a 7-day, a chime, a tea light. Just make sure not to use a lot of oil, like I tell people anyway, on with anointing their candles, just because it can change the way your candle melts, and also you don't want any kind of fire hazards either. All right, so you can use that ancestor oil in your altar work leading up to the ritual. And like I said, we're going to do a letter that we're going to give to our ancestors. If you're not going to be around your altar around the time of the ritual, you can do it prior to, but we're also going to provide that letter that we write to our ancestors during the ritual. So I can't tell you how to write the letter. It's not like a typical petition. It's really something that's personal to you. And, you know, Ancestor Veneration is something that is personal. And we are providing offerings for this ritual, but if you want to put an offering on your altar, you can do that as well. All right, so I'm going to get back to the letter to the ancestors. So I posted this a while ago, and this was just a prayer that you can use at your ancestor altar. Now, I tell everyone to, you know, just talk to your ancestors like you would talk if your grandmother was still alive, you know, if you were talking to your grandma. But this is a prayer if we have some people that are new coming in and they just need a little bit more formality. But the prayer is, I come to you humbly and with a grateful heart, my dear ancestors, to show love, thanks, and appreciation for laying the path for me and guiding me in the right direction. I thank you for your protection for me and my family and for interceding on my behalf in the toughest of times. I give you offerings to show my love and appreciation for your support, and I ask that you continue to walk with me and guide me throughout my life, my journey in this life. And that's just, like I said, a prayer if you just need a little bit more formality in your altar workings. But, you know, when you first start it, it may feel a little awkward, or it may even be an emotional experience. But the more that you do it, the more you will get accustomed to it and acclimated to it. All right, so I'm going to go over some frequently asked questions. So one of the questions is, I'm new. Can I participate in the ritual without an altar? Yes, you can participate in the ritual without an altar. I know some people have living arrangements where they can't set one up. And like I tell people, typically when we do other rituals, even if you have a table or, a dresser, if you can put some water out, some flowers, and just talk to your ancestors. Okay. So if you are new coming in, this would be a good ritual to get into, to establish that connection. And we talk about the process and going through different steps of the process. The ancestors are first, but there's a reason why we did the Ancestor Veneration ritual when we did. October is when the veil is the thinnest, so it's easier to communicate with spirit and get messages through. Okay, so what if I don't know my ancestors, or if I'm adopted? This is a typical question that I get. Everyone has ancestors regardless if we know them or not. So you can still venerate your ancestors. If you have the last name of your lineage, you can put that on your altar. You can also refer to ancestors known and unknown, who wish to assist me, who wish to guide me, who have my best interests. Okay. And that also goes to, I've had people ask about ancestors, who may not be part of their family, whether they have a step parent that raised them. I feel like everyone has people that come into their lives for a reason, whether they're blood or not. So it's perfectly fine if you have a step parent that was like a parent to you. You can put them on your ancestor altar. I have a stepdaughter myself, and I would not have a problem at all if she called on me once I leave this earth, because I see her like my child. So that's perfectly fine if you want to put, those people on your altar as well. Okay, so what if I had some bad ancestors or didn't get along with one of the ancestors in this lifetime? Okay, so I can't tell you who to put on your altar and who not to put on your altar. It's really a matter of what your spirit is telling you. And it's a matter of what you believe, if they keep the same level of consciousness when they were on this earth, when they descend. But typically I would just ask for messages from spirit if you need to add that particular ancestor on the altar. And I want to get into this too, because, I have people that say, what if I had some bad ancestors? Now, I can tell you no one who walks this earth is perfect. Okay. But when we get into asking only benevolent ancestors, the problem with it is this. Okay. If you have to do some baneful work, or, someone is really messing with you and it's something that's justified that you need to do you really only want to petition your benevolent ancestors? You want to keep those lines open. Okay. So if you want to say those that wish to assist me, then that's perfectly fine. But I feel like sometimes we may need that other kind of energy as well, that we sometimes have to work with. Okay. Also, should I venerate only the ancestors that I know? We have hundreds of ancestors. So, if you only know your grandma and your granddaddy, do you really just want to be limited only to them? You have other ancestors as well. So I say not to limit your work and if you have them that you talk to, that's fine. If those are only two people you have pictures of to put on the altar, that's perfectly fine. And you can still venerate them, but just don't cut off your other ancestors as well. Venerate all of them that wish to help you and assist you in this lifetime. Okay. And hopefully I didn't miss anything, but also with the ancestors that you didn't know. I have a story where my mom's granddad, which is my grandmother's dad, he died when my grandmother was really young. So my mom never knew him, and of course I didn't know him. But I know his name. I've never seen a picture of him because they didn't, really have pictures like that back then. So I've never seen a picture of him, but I could always imagine what he looked like in my head. So I had a dream one day of an ancestor, and I would assume it was an ancestor, but everywhere I went, he was walking with me. He was guiding me. He was talking to me. And when I told my mom about the dream, I described the person to her, and she said, that sounded like my granddad. So she called my grandmother and didn't tell her I had a dream, but she kind of asked her what he looked like, and she described him perfectly like I described him, down to the way that he dressed. So he came to me even though I've never met him in my life. So that's just to say, don't cut off the ones that you know, just because that you don't know. Okay, you know, kind of keep it open for any ancestors who wish to assist you. All right, so thank you guys for watching the video. I hope I did not forget anyone's questions, but if you have any questions, you can shoot me a DM or an email. Once again, make sure to like and subscribe to our channel. And also, if you want to sign up for the ritual, October the 11th is the last day. Also, send over those collages to us at thirdgenerationpetitions@gmail.com. If you want to sign up for the ritual, you can sign up there, which is www.thirdgenerationconjurel.com. Until next time, guys. Bye-bye.